Hello, I'm Sarah Campbell. We start with a special report from Israel, where medical workers have told the BBC that Palestinian detainees from Gaza are routinely kept shackled to hospital beds, blindfolded, sometimes naked, and forced to wear nappies, a practice one medic said amounted to torture. Israel's army said in response that handcuffing of detainees in the Sde Teiman military hospital was carried out in cases where the security risk requires it, and that nappies were used only for those who've undergone medical procedures. There are some upsetting details in this report from our Middle East correspondent, Lucy Williamson.
Soufiane Abu Salah survived months of war unscathed. He left military detention in Israel, permanently disabled. A taxi driver from Khan Yunis, released without charge after weeks of interrogation. His return soured by sadness.
My leg got infected and turned blue and soft as a sponge. After 7 days, they took me to the military hospital. They operated twice to clean the wound, but it didn't work. Afterwards, they took me to a public hospital where the doctor gave me two options: my leg or my life.
Neither Israel's army nor health ministry responded to these allegations. There's growing concern over the medical care of Gazan detainees in Israel. Classed as unlawful combatants even before interrogation, doctors say they're kept shackled and blindfolded, including during hospital treatment. Allegations have centred on a new field hospital at the Sde Teiman military base. So you're not seeing problems? One senior medic there says patients are kept blindfolded and in nappies, with all four limbs handcuffed to the bed.
The army, not me, they create the patient to be dependent 100% on you like a baby. You are cuffed, you are with diaper, you need the water, you need everything. It's dehumanization of them.
The army told us that the need to handcuff detainees in the medical facility was examined individually and daily, and that cuffing was done when the security risk required it. Diapers or nappies, it said, were only for those patients with limited movement. Dr. Donchin told us these measures were applied to all patients without assessment, even those who couldn't walk.
If they can't stand on their legs, why are they shackled?
I can't answer this. This is stupid.
The Hamas attacks on the 7th of October left Israel's hospital staff treating captured fighters alongside their Israeli victims. Many current detainees are released without charge, but the complex feelings of some medics remain. Two medics told us painkillers had been withheld, causing what one described as an unacceptable amount of pain. This man, who we're calling Yoni, described a case he said took place in a public civilian hospital. His words have been voiced by an actor.
I have knowledge of one case where the painkillers were used selectively during a procedure. If you put together that someone is undergoing an invasive procedure which involves even incisions, and the patient doesn't know about that and is blindfolded, then the line between treatment and assault thins out.
Treating Gazan captives on military sites was meant to resolve doctors' ethical dilemmas, but those dilemmas remain. The moment our hospital at Sde Teiman closes, one told me, we'll celebrate. Lucy Williamson, BBC News, Jerusalem.
Let's go live now to Jerusalem and our correspondent Dan Johnson. Hello to you, Dan. Let's talk first of all about the news from the International Criminal Court. Of course, they've talked about the fact that they are looking into issuing arrest warrants for the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, and also Yoav Gallant. And just looking at Wires now, and Mr. Gallant has just issued a statement saying he's accusing the ICC prosecutor of trying to deny the Israeli right to self-defense and to recover hostages. So clearly a very strong response from Israel to this news from the ICC.
Yes, a strong response, a furious response, and it is in the main a united response. Whereas in the last week we've been seeing divisions opening up between Benjamin Netanyahu, his defence secretary, and the other member of his war cabinet, we are now seeing them uniting in condemnation of this move by the chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court to press charges, to issue arrest warrants for Mr. Netanyahu and Mr. Gallant. The Prime Minister last night described this as a moral outrage of historic proportions. He said it would cast an everlasting mark of shame on the International Court. Describing the prosecutor, Mr. Khan, he said, creates a twisted and false moral equivalence between the leaders of Israel and the henchmen of Hamas, something that sets a dangerous precedent that undermines every democracy's right to defend itself against terror organisations. He's made clear that he believes the International Criminal Court has no jurisdiction over Israel. Israel is not signed up to the International Criminal Court, but the court does recognise the state of Palestine. So it seems even if Israelis are going to challenge this on the basis of lack of jurisdiction, the court has already ruled that matters affecting the Palestinian people do come within its remit. I think what we will see is a concerted attempt to challenge the International Criminal Court's legitimacy and to question its approach here. And we've already seen the United States President Joe Biden saying this is an outrageous move. The US is not signed up to the International Criminal Court, but even those who are have questioned this as well. The word from a British spokesman was that this was unhelpful at the moment. And there is real outrage at the perceived moral equivalence of bringing an arrest warrant against Benjamin Netanyahu at the same time as the top leaders of Hamas, something that they say they will challenge, they will question, they will ignore. But the reality will be, if these arrest warrants are issued, Benjamin Netanyahu could be at risk of arrest visiting any country that is signed up to the International Criminal Court. That includes Britain. What would Britain do in that instance if Benjamin Netanyahu chose to visit? Will he restrict his travel plans if that happens? These are major issues, big questions for the future, which could possibly test international relations and the upholding of international law, justice and accountability.
For the moment, Dan Johnson in Jerusalem, thank you.